The most dangerous move a narcissist makes isn't the anger or cruelty. It's something that happens when the covert narcissist starts to lose their grip. So maybe you set a boundary, or you make plans with friends, or even just seemed a little more sure of yourself. Maybe you even went so far as to leave the relationship. And somehow, without warning, there's a crisis. It might be a bad day they can't seem to handle, a sudden wave of panic, or a heartbreaking story that pulls you right back into their world. Whatever it is, it feels urgent and it feels personal. And it's just enough to make you question your need for space. So instead of standing firm, you find yourself wondering if you're being unfair. If maybe they really do need you right now, and if walking away would make you seem heartless. And that's exactly the point. Because the moment you start doubting your right to set those boundaries, you're already being pulled back in. And the scary part is that it doesn't feel like control. It feels like you're being compassionate, feels like doing the right thing for someone who's hurting. But underneath that emotion, there's something you're not supposed to notice. Welcome to the Common Ego community. My name is Christina, and I help people recover from toxic relationships. And if you think you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, I have a free checklist to help you see how your experience stacks up with the phases of narcissistic abuse. There's a link for that in the description. You see, they're not forcing their agenda. They're baiting you into it. So it feels like it's your decision. And that's what I call the rescue trap. And once you're caught in it, it doesn't matter how much you know logically. There's something deeper underneath, something that keeps pulling you back in before you even realize it. So let's dig a little deeper into why the rescue trap works so well, especially with certain people. You see, the rescue trap doesn't work because you're weak or naive. It works because it taps into something deeper, something that's wired into how we're built to connect with other people. So when someone shows distress, whether it's real or not, your nervous system reacts long before your mind can even catch up. And it goes into high gear with that instinct to comfort or repair, or essentially just to stay close to this person, to provide some sort of support. So when someone close to you cries out, whether with words, silence, or with pain, something in you shifts and you feel a natural urge to fix. And while narcissists may not know the exact mechanisms of why this works, they know that it does. And they know how to play that instinct. They know that when they fall apart, you're more likely to move closer. And it's not just attachment wiring that's getting triggered. There's something else happening too. You see, empathy studies show that when we see somebody suffering, it can activate a kind of urgency in us, a drive to help even when it costs us something, and sometimes especially when it costs us something. So even if your mind is screaming that something's wrong, you feel like you're being pulled towards helping, almost like you have no choice. And then, if you've been in this for long enough, there could be a trauma bond at play. And that's the cycle of hope and betrayal, punishment and reward. And that trains you to chase relief, to hold on tighter when the pain hits, hoping that if you stay a little longer, things will finally get better. And by the time you see the rescue trap clearly, you're already deep into another layer of confusion. Because part of you still wants to believe the narcissist's collapse is real. You want to believe that victim's story. And more importantly, you want to believe that the hurt you're seeing is proof that they did care all along. And that they can hurt like you can. They're capable of those emotions. And even when another part of you knows better, cognitive dissonance kicks in full force. Because it feels safer to believe they're hurting than to face the idea that they're intentionally hurting you. And that's what makes the rescue trap so powerful. It's not just about guilt, it's about survival instincts, empathy reflexes, and hope. And all of those things are turning against you at the same time. And while anyone can get caught in the rescue trap, some people feel that pull even stronger. And it usually has a lot to do with what they've already survived. So let's talk about why some people are more vulnerable. And if this is you, if you can identify to having a savior complex or a hero complex, Definitely pay attention. So here's how it works. If you grew up in a home where you had to meet the emotional needs of the adults around you, or where love meant caretaking or earning your place, then rushing in when somebody seems to be in need, it doesn't just feel urgent. It feels familiar and it feels like the way you survive because it's the way you learned to survive growing up. And that right there makes the manipulation so much harder to see when it's happening because stepping in doesn't feel dangerous. It actually feels right. And for a lot of men, that pull can hit even harder because not only might they carry the same early conditioning, but there's often an added expectation that real strength means saving someone, and that walking away, even when you need to, means you failed. And for women, the pressure cuts just as deep, just in a different way. Because for women, caretaking isn't just encouraged, it's kind of expected. And whether you're a man or a woman, if you're highly empathetic, if you're someone who feels other people's pain almost as if it's your own, their collapse can trigger your compassion. And before you even realize it, can start to feel like an obligation. And then that trap tightens even more when they make you feel like you're the only one who understands them, the only one who can save them. Because then it feels like rescuing them proves your worth. And once you've reached that level, it becomes almost impossible to see when you're the one who really needs saving. So now let's talk just for a minute about why this is so dangerous. Because it isn't just about pulling you back toward them, it's about pulling you further away from yourself. When they collapse into victim mode, it creates just enough doubt to make you question your feelings or your boundaries. And once you start questioning them, you're in danger of dialing back on them and doing it on autopilot. So then you find yourself letting them off the hook or letting them get closer without consciously making any decision to do so. And this is also super dangerous because it doesn't happen all at once or you would notice. Instead, you kind of give small pieces away. And each time it feels like the right thing to do. And never throughout any of this do they have to overpower you. They can make you do their dirty work for them. So now we understand how all of this works. Let's talk about how to protect yourself from this dangerous tactic. And I want to be very clear that the way out of the rescue trap isn't about shutting down your empathy. It's about learning to listen to the part of you that notices when something isn't right, even when the guilt kicks in. So I see it all the time with my coaching clients because when you've been hurt enough times, it can feel safer to shut everything down, to stop feeling so much and to stop caring so deeply. If you can identify that having empathy has led to pain, it kind of makes sense in a way to just shut it off or ignore it. But losing your empathy is not healing at all. It's just another kind of disconnection. And it cuts you off from the parts of yourself that were really never the problem to begin with. So you don't have to chop off the most beautiful parts of yourself to protect yourself. You just have to recognize when your instincts are being used against you. Because the biggest red flag isn't always in what they're doing. It's in what you start feeling. So if you find yourself feeling overwhelmed by guilt and you feel a sudden urgency to fix things, especially right after this person has hurt you, that's your sign to slow down. Just take a moment to pause and reflect on what's really happening here and pay attention to the patterns that have probably been playing out many, many times before. Because if their breakdown only shows up when you're pulling away or when they're caught in a lie, if their pain only appears when they're losing control, that's not real vulnerability. It's bait, and you don't owe anyone your peace in exchange for their happiness. Do whatever you can to protect your own peace. So the truth is, you were never meant to lose yourself trying to save someone else. And if you want to understand why that pull feels so automatic, even long after the narcissist is out of your life, watch this next video that just popped up on the screen. Because what most people don't realize is the training to serve them didn't end when the relationship did. And if you don't spot where it's still showing up, it can keep running your life without you even realizing it. But before you click away, be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already, and I will see you again soon.